As you can see on the screen, the name of the course is Indian Constitution and Economic Growth. It has a course credit of 4. The course category is core. It is a subject of semester 3rd, and course coordinator is Dr. Rajshree Chatterjee. Let's discuss the course objectives. The purpose of this course that it will help the student to become well versed in the basics of Indian Constitution and Indian politics. It will also help the student to learn about the constitutional and political framework and trends in political communication. The course will also help the student to practice and think about Indian Constitution and economic growth theory and research critically. It will also help the student to analyze and evaluate political and economic situations in India. Please take a look about the course objective. At the end of the course, the student will be able to understand the overview of Indian constitutions, features and making of the constitution. It will also help the student to understand and evaluate Indian federal and parliamentary structure. It will also help the student to analyze the key areas that are covered by the course, includes prevalent political parties and economic growth and issues of India. It will able to help the student so that they'll be able to demonstrate the role and impact of communication in public opinion, processes, elections, debates and secularism. It will also help the students to analyze and study political campaign and political socialization. Now before I start discussing the LMS, let's discuss the course contents. This entire course is divided in 5 parts, and each part has got 3 units in it. The first part is related to Indian Constitution. In the second part, we will be discussing about working of political systems in India. The third part is related to central and state relations. In the fourth part, we'll be discussing about nature of Indian economy and key features. The fifth part and the last part is all about the problems of Indian economy and measures to handle those problems. So here it is a blend of both Indian Constitution and economic growth, because this subject has been designed in a way so that it can give an overview about Indian Constitution and how this constitution and parliamentary system functions and it works, how this political system of our country works, and the economic situation of our country. So let's have a detailed look about what exactly we are going to study in these sections. The very first section is Indian Constitution. So in Unit 1, we'll be discussing about Constitution of India, making and adoption, political history of India, brief perspective of Indian politics as adopted by Constituent Assembly. In the same section, we'll be discussing features of Indian Constitution, preamble, main principles and objectives of making the Constitution. The third part of section A will be fundamental rights, and especially part 3 of Indian Constitution, its importance and exceptions. And in the same, we'll be discussing about doctrine of severability and doctrine of eclipse. So that's the main introduction of Indian Constitution part. In the second part, there will be three units, and this second part is related to the working of political systems in India. So it will start with Directive Principles of State Policy, part 4, in which we will be discussing about concepts and principles like socialist, Gandhian, liberal, intellectual and international policy. And here in this topic, we'll also be discussing about landmark judgments. The second part is Indian Parliament's composition, powers and functions. Of the two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, we'll be discussing about the powers and functions of the Speaker, bills and various committees of Parliament. Third part is executive position of the President and Prime Minister, election powers and functions. And here we'll be discussing about various political parties, both national and regional. While discussing the political parties, we will be able to understand that what are the party description, what is the ideology of the party, the symbol, achievements and controversies. So this is all about the second part of this subject. The third part is related to central and state relations. So here in this section, we'll be discussing about Indian federalism, features, types, critical appraisals, cases and importance. Unit 8, we will talk about central state relations, and we will see the powers that have been divided between the central and the state, the legislative, administrative and financial powers. We'll also discuss major issues and challenges, also major conflicts and recent cases of conflict between the center and the state. In this part, there is a very important topic, that is election process, that we will understand. So to understand this, we will study powers and functions of Election Commission of India, electoral reforms, cases of violations of rules during elections, and lastly, in this section, we'll be studying about secularism, legal provisions, two modes of secularism, major concerns, religious conflicts, and case studies. The fourth and fifth part is related to the Indian economy. So here in the fourth part is all about the problems of introduction to Indian economy. So here we will study nature of Indian economy, key features, current analysis, major problems of Indian economy, annual budget, concept, budget procedure, functions of the budget, preparation, enactment, execution and parliamentary control over finance. In the last section of last chapter of this section, we'll be studying stock and commodity exchange, how this functions, annual reports, its objectives and functions, 5-year plans, concepts and features. So this is all about fourth part. In fifth part, we'll be talking about problems of Indian economy. So here we will discuss liberalization, privatization and globalization, its concepts and features, economic reforms policy by Narasimha Rao's committee's recommendations, and highlights of LPG policy. And lastly, we will discuss poverty, the causes of poverty, policies and suggestions for poverty alleviation, population and effects of rapid population growth in India, measures to control population. In the last chapter, we will be discussing about unemployment, features, types, suggestions for improvement, cause and consequences. So this was all about the course content of this subject. And in the LMS content, again it has four, it is divided in 4 parts. In quadrant 1, there are e-tutorials that have been designed by the faculties to make you understand all the topics in detail, and it includes introductory video of the course, content videos, audios on each unit of the syllabi. In quadrant 2, e-content, which contains self-instructional material, e-books, web resources, research papers and journals and other reference materials are to be provided to the student. In quadrant 3, it is the discussion forum for raising of doubts and clarifying them on a near real-time basis. Here different topics on emerging issues will be uploaded from time to time and students will participate in discussions. In quadrant 4, it relates to assessment, which contains multiple choice questions, short answer questions, long answer question, and all the above have been already uploaded unit-wise at LMS. So now let's understand this in a very short and easy way. There are 4 parts how a student will start from zero and how a student will qualify this subject or exam. So in the very first part, student will be provided with the introductory videos and course contents. Each topic have been discussed through video and audio presentations by the faculties. In the second quadrant, e-books and other journals and reference books will be provided to the students. The third quadrant will be related to the emerging issues or any clarification of the doubts of the students or discussions on the recent topics and issues. The fourth part is related to the assessment, which deals with multiple choice questions, short answer questions and long answer questions for each unit. So a student can perform and see the assessment, check their performance and see their assessment. Now let's discuss the learning process. The relevance of the course is to become well versed in the basis of Indian Constitution and Indian politics, to learn about the constitutional and political framework and trends in political communication, and to practice and think about Indian Constitution and economic growth theory and research critically. It also helped to analyze and evaluate political and economic situation in India. So that is the relevance of the course. Now let's discuss the pedagogical processes. It will include live classes, assignments, quizzes, frequently asked questions, and clarifications on general misconceptions. Apart from that, there will be additional activities which includes master classes, lectures by industry, experts and professionals, case studies, etc. Now let's talk about few reference books. The reference books are test books and reference book that have been given, and the information related to the same have been provided. The first book is Politics and Ethics of Indian Constitution by Rajiv Bhargav, and the very famous book Introduction to Indian Constitution by D.D. Basu. The Media, Politics and Public Life by Manoj Bhardwaj, and Key Concepts in Political Communication by Batra and Kishore. And few reference books are also available for the students, like Comparing Political Communication Theories, Cases and Challenges by Milind Sambhalekar, and Political Communications Politics Study Guides by Shekharan Rao. So these are the details of the textbook and reference books. I hope I am able to give you enough detail about this course, Indian Constitution and Economic Growth, as I have discussed it in various parts, like I have discussed the course objective, course content, the outcome of the course, the objective of the course, the LMS structure, and how we will continue with the course in 4 quadrant that we have discussed, and lastly we have discussed about textbook and reference book. I hope this introductory video will help the student to understand the entire subject, that how and what exactly they are going to study in this course. Thank you so much.